This is the stereo I selected to put in. It's very low end. It was about $45, but it works just fine. And let me just walk you through it. It's a dual, which is not a completely off-brand. It's been working great. And if you want the model number, let's see, I can pick it up here. XDM 6351. And it's got some pretty neat features. One thing I'd like to point out is it's got the faceplate that's removable. That's getting pretty common, of course, nowadays. So if you're worried about any theft or anything, you can just take this and put it away. Now inside, one really neat thing is it's got an SD slot. So if you have a memory card, you can put, gosh, 16 gigabytes of music. It might even go up to 32, I don't know. And it's got the CD input here, which you will be able to see on the outside as well. So you store this away if you'd like, and snap it back in. Okay, so it's got loudness, it's got CD. Over here on the right side, it's got an auxiliary input, so you can put your headphone output from your MP3 or smartphone device right in there. And right above it, it has a USB slot. So there's all kinds of ways to have music here. And it's got the standard buttons to turn things on and off. It also comes with a remote control, which I find is pretty handy, because when we mount this underneath the steering column, it's kind of hard to see anything. So the remote control is definitely a requirement. So here's a side view of it. It's not too big at all. And then the back side. So I'll tell you a little bit about the back side. This model has two RCA jacks, you see right here. Now I'm not going to use them, but you can take these to an amplifier and put it through your system if you'd like. This is the quick disconnect here. It's a female. I guess there's about 18 or so slots in there, and that's where we're going to plug in our under the dash unit with all the cables and wires. And that's about it. It does come with not instructions, but it's got the color code right here for your wires in case you kind of lose your owner's manual. And it has a sliding mount bracket if you want to put it in a dash somewhere. Like I said, I don't want to mess up the original radio in the TBird, so I don't really use it at all. So there's the unit. Again, this is a dual, but I wouldn't spend a whole lot of money because the sound coming out of this thing is great. Now I thought I would tell you this does come with an owner's manual, and it's pretty thick, 22 pages, but you're going to need it to figure out how to go between the modes and the various AM, FMs and whatnot. And it's got a pretty handy remote control indicator as well on what goes to what. What I've done actually on the back of mine is put some codes to let me know if I click down 1, 2, or 3 exactly where I am, so I don't have to pull the manual out, because it does get confusing when you start going through those. So this is what I'm talking about with my little cheat sheet here. So I've got mode, and I know that if I go down 3, I'm into CD player, and then on down to the other functions of the radio, including the band, AM, FM. It's got several FM bands and a couple AM bands, but I mostly just listen to the music that I've installed on it. Let's talk about the tools you're going to need for this project. As you see laid out on the table, there might be 1 or 2 others, but this will get you going. So let's go ahead and go from left to right. Just a simple voltmeter, and what you're going to do with that is to find your 12-volt lead and your ground. Very simple to do. You're going to need a flashlight because it's going to get pretty dark underneath the dash there. Some wire strippers. You're going to need that to connect your stereo to the power leads, etc. And over here we just have a pair of snips. That'll come in handy as you're snipping off the ties that you're going to hold here. Hold all the wires together as you shove them underneath the dash. Some wire nuts, just some simple wire nuts. You're probably going to need those. And I say probably because all stereos come a little bit differently. Yours may have bare wires. If not, then you'll have to trim them down and connect the appropriate wires to the speaker leads with those wire nuts. Next thing that's pretty cool is these leads for quick disconnect between your speakers and the system. And these are very easy to find. You can see there's 2 of them, and let me show you what we're going to do here. as you see, the reds are both connected to the stubby end. I'm going to lay these down here. So when you put them together and just shove one into the other, you're going to have reds against reds. Now we're getting ready to actually attach this to the steering column. These are the things you're going to need next. Get a good Velcro, a super strength. As you see, this one holds up to 10 pounds. This is the best they have. You want a really, really tight gripping Velcro. Next, you're going to take off a piece of the female Velcro, and just to show you how big it might be, got my little reference pin here. So it's just a normal pin, looks like 1, 2, about 3.5 or so of a normal size pen or pencil. Okay, now the next thing is you need a strip of male Velcro. Keep the plastic on the back side, because what we're going to do simply is to roll this over and grab it really tight. You're going to have one of the Velcros attached here. It's basically just going to be a connector. So we're going to wrap it around the top of the steering column would be right here. You wrap it around really tight and just put it together like this, and that'll hold it. So let's go ahead and do that. Now we'll talk about the speaker system that I've selected. I looked at many options and all of them are too big. I've tried little barrel speakers on the corners by the kick panels, and they were just too big for my wife. Couldn't get our feet under, and it's a pain on the driver's side with your brake as well as your light dimmer switch, so kind of threw that one out. Anyway, I've tried a couple and they're all too big. The ones you're going to get at the store for most home stereos, the impedance is off just a little bit. They're usually 4 ohm, and auto stereos are generally tuned to 8 ohm speakers. If you've done this in the old days with 8-track players, that's basically what you used, was the 8 ohm speakers. So let's just talk a little bit about the speakers that I came up with. These are two-way. You got a lower bass, mid-range, and a higher tweeter. It's not the best quality. It's got a little port right here, but it works just fine. On the back side are these quick disconnects that I showed you during the equipment phase of the video here. So this is where you would disconnect and hide these speakers perhaps in your trunk, and they come right into these push clasps on the back of the speaker. So trying to maintain positive and negative, well, definitely do. Okay, and here's what they go. Okay, so what I do, you're going to see when I mount them, I put Velcro, the Super Stick Velcro on them so that they will stick to the carpet. It's not the most secure thing in the world, but it really works fine for me. So if you can dream up another way to mount these, I've even tried them underneath the dash, but they stick down a little too long for your legs. And it's great on the passenger side, but on the driver's side, it's just like nowhere to put it. Okay, so low-end speakers, I think I got these at a swap meet for probably 20 bucks for the 2 of them. I can't remember, but that's about all you need. So test it, and it should work out fine. I'm going to put in the right speaker right now as an example. The driver's side's kind of tight, so you're just going to have to duplicate it over here. So these are my wires running down from the stereo. So route them as you want. You got to get it all the way over to the left side. And this is the quick disconnect that we've talked about. And here's my speaker. So what I'm going to do is just get in here and connect the red to red, the male to the female on both of these, and just push it in tight. So now it's definitely connected. And then what you do is, it's best if you move your floor mat a little bit towards the hump. And remember, on the back we have this Velcro right here, and that's going to grab to the carpet. So what you want to do is shove your wires, kind of hide them a bit. No one can see down this low anyway, but just find a place for them behind the kick panel, and go ahead and rub it right in there. Get it onto the carpet as best as you can, and this Velcro will keep it from moving around. So there you go. So that's how we do the speaker, and works pretty good for me. Now I'm under the driver's side area, and I've already put my speaker in here, and as you see, it is covering the dimmer switch. But like I say, it pops out pretty easily off the Velcro. You can just put it down on the main floor. So I've already attached my quick disconnect to the actual stereo, and I have all the appropriate wires down. I've wired them according to the instructions. You got your power lead, your ground lead, your speakers left and right. So that's what we got to do. Now if you look in the back there, let me come in a little bit, you can see the antenna cord. You need to get a antenna lengthener. So you'd unplug the antenna cable into this lengthener extension, and you can extend it therefore about 3 feet over to get it into the stereo. Okay, so you want to use the same antenna that you have for your radio. You're just bypassing the radio. So you take it out of the radio. If you really want the radio, you can just get a splitter antenna extension. Then you can have the antenna going both to your AM radio as well as the stereo. But I don't really like that because the stereo's got AM in it anyway, AM and FM. So just to keep your stock radio intact without messing with it at anything. Okay, so we're going to connect this now, and things I want to point out. Make sure you have a fuse in it. This unit comes with a 10 amp fuse. You can see it right there with the black barrel with the white label. Okay, that's important. And then you do have to get a battery lead from the battery back here, and that keeps your stations and your clock preset. It's very easy to do. You can tap right off your battery, and then you'll need a ground inside here. So inside the dash, there's lots of places you can just drill a little hole and put a screw in and use it for your ground. Okay. Now, let's see. That's about it. So I'm going to go ahead and hook it together. Then we'll come back and talk about how to attach it to the steering column. Now we're under the dash. I apologize for the video. It's kind of tough to get a decent shot here, but you can see the steering column. And here's the Velcro that we showed you. Okay, and here's the male attached to the bottom of the female. Now this takes about 4 hands to do, but I'm going to go over the top of the steering column, just like that, and I'm ready to hold up the stereo right under it. Okay, so get working it up in there. Now you want to get it a little forward if you could. It's going to be easier to get the CDs and whatnot in it. Okay, so I'm just holding this down, and I'm going to wrap the other end of the Velcro really tight and secure it. Okay, now I can get it even tighter by moving it. Moving the whole mechanism forward, and it'll be a little more stable. And you can shove it up on the steering column as well. Just reach underneath there and shove it up as big as you can, as high as you can. So these two areas here, these red by the hood release, you just need enough to get your hand in to open the hood. Okay, and then I'm going to loosen it up and tighten it up one more time. Get it as tight as I possibly can while honking the horn. Okay, so I'm bringing it down, getting it very, very tight as I can, and then put the male onto that female. There you go. Okay, so it's not too bad. It's not too bad. So if it vibrates a little bit more, what I've done is you can put duct tape to hold the upper area tight so it doesn't slip down the steering column and get loose. Okay, so the next step is to take the antenna cable and find the antenna hole in the back and just put the antenna right in there. Okay, slide it right in. Then the next thing is the cluster of cables. So I've got the cluster cable. Let me move the camera down a little bit there. Okay, you can see the cluster of cables into the quick release. And now I just got to find where that quick release is. It'll only go one way. And you got to watch your arm going through the steering column because it honks the horn. Okay, it only goes in one way. There's a tab that sticks up. So if I paid attention, here it is right here. I will be able to align it and push it right in. Now here's a labor-saving tip. Before you go shoving this up into the column, go ahead and get your antenna cable in. Okay, so there you go. And put in the quick disconnect for the entire stereo. It's got a notch on it, so it'll only go in one way. There we go. So that's pretty easy to do. And now we go to the steering column. Move the Velcro forward if you can. Okay, next thing is to hold it right about here. I'll get the camera angle up better for you. There you go. Okay, so we're just to the left of the hood release, and right at the bottom of the chrome trim for the steering column, there's little lips kind of in red on the bottom of the dash. So get her right up against there. That's a pretty good spot. Get ready for your Velcro, and I guess I could turn the battery off. Okay, put it in as hard as you can so it wraps around and grabs. Okay, now that's a little loose, so I'm going to do it again. Okay, you just got to do a little trial and error to get it as tight as you possibly can. Okay, so holding it up, pushing it as tight as I possibly can. And here we go. Okay, now if you slide it back into the Velcro, it'll stay a little more horizontal. There you go. Whew. Okay, so that's the name of that tune, folks. And let me just come back here a little bit so you can see it under the dash. And there we go. Once you take the dangling spaghetti mill you put under there with all those wires, you just put it together with a zip tie, and there you go. So everything is nice and tidy under there. And let's take a look at the sound. And there you go. Maintain your stock AM radio. Didn't cut a darn thing. Got it nice and tidy under the dash. Your legs fit just fine. You got some pretty good tunes. And I didn't have to go behind the seat with big speakers. It's going to muffle the sound. And these little guys put out pretty good. So have a nice day, and carpe diem. Seize the day.